Hello and welcome back to What's the Tea with ACP. I'm so happy today to have one of my closest, my best friend here for this amazing time. This is our season 2, episode 1 premiere. We are back. We are in the new year. We are in 2021. We have big goals. We have big things we want to do, and we're bringing positivity and light into this year. So I want to say welcome back to What's the Tea with ACP, where we have a live webcast where featured artists chat with us about what's going on in their lives, their art, and their social experiences. This week, we have one of my best friends, again, like I said, Haven Christopher. Before we meet Haven, I have to tell you what's the tea. So the topic for today is durability. In this edition of What's the Tea, we'll discuss how music has influenced Haven's styling and fashion consulting, as well as his journey to get to the space with his art that he has so far. Now, a little bit about Haven. Haven is a celebrity wardrobe and image consultant from Richmond, Virginia. He is now living and thriving in New York City. Growing up as a young boy, journeying through life, coping with his sexuality and family struggles, he was always a goal-oriented, hardworking, driven individual, but most of all, an artist. And I can vouch for that. That is true tea. In 2016, Haven packed up his car, turned in his badge where he supervised at a call center, and drove to New York City with no more than $200 in his pocket. That is also true tea, honey. Fast forward to the current date. Haven has been published in Vogue magazine for certain wardrobe projects, works alongside some of your favorite entertainers, musicians, actors, and actresses, making them look and feel their best through storytelling and artistry of being a recognized wardrobe stylist. Please welcome my best Haven Christopher. Hello, darling.
Hi.
It's crazy. It's crazy hearing about yourself like this, huh?
Oh my God.
Come on, achievements.
Hi, Bess. What's up?
Hello. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling so good. Happy New Year. I'm just thankful to be here. I'm really excited. Starting off a new year fresh, new goals, new mindset, and great health. I'm blessed.
Amen. Amen. Yes, honey. So I want to tell you a little bit about our tea today. So the tea word for today is durability. So let me give you a little Webster's definition of the term. The term is the ability to withstand wear, pressure, or damage. And because I know your life, right? We've been friends for 15 years, over 15 years.
Long time.
And so I see you as such a durable person. I see you as someone who is resilient and strong and loving and energetic and artistic. And I thought that durability was such a great word to define who you are and where you've come from and how you're thriving. So that's the T word for today.
Wow, that's such a strong word, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those words I feel like we usually use it for, like, I don't know, like a car. You're like, it's like, oh,
Car.
yeah, it's like it's very durable, or like a luggage piece, something like, but really at the root of the word, a person can also embody and encompass all of those aspects. And I truly see that in you. So we're just gonna hop right in, because maybe we should actually first talk about like how we met / know each other, because
that's a good place to start.
Okay, let's start at the very beginning. So Haven and I grew up in Richmond, Virginia, and we were a part of a boys' choir. And he doesn't know this, but he walked. He walked
You
into the
wait
room.
15 years to tell me this? No, go ahead.
Well, you know, you got to keep some tea for yourself, and then you got to give a little bit for somebody to sip on.
Okay.
So he walked into the room, still had this same swagger, but we're giving you 2008 tea. Okay, so he's giving you
name bell.
right. He's giving you Chris Brown realness. Okay, so he walked in. I said, "Who is that?" And I said, I said, well, we're about to be best friends. And from there, we developed a friendship. And that's how it's been. Haven is like my brother. So what can I say?
Just moment after moment. Again, like 15 years of friendship, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Ellie's been there from the beginning. So anything that he sees or knows of, know that it is factual. And I was telling him earlier, baby, we got pictures on pictures looking crazy.
Crazy.
And those are locked away in the Disney vault for sure.
The vault. The vault. The vault, the door. Okay? Locked. But I want to know, how have you been with like COVID and all of the things that are happening? I know that you've still been thankfully able to work a little bit and do what you need to do. And so can you tell us a little bit about how you've been coping with that in the last year?
Okay, so COVID, I mean, just like with everyone, has been super difficult, super hard. It's very bittersweet. It'll definitely be something that I will remember for the rest of my life. I mean, I've lost really close people to me, so I've had to cope with that amongst the mental stress of like just trying to keep my head on straight. And then you look at the positives, you know, still being able to work, do what I love to do. It was a really bittersweet year for me. It was also it's really crazy how things work, because in the midst of a pandemic, you know, I also began, you know, working for the most influential African-American man in fashion.
Yes.
As not only my boss, but a mentor to me. So in the midst of a pandemic, it's like, it was just a lot all at one time. And I'm super grateful. And again, just happy to be here. And I'm just rolling with the punches and just continue to make things happen.
Well, it's also kind of like what we have to do, right? Like, especially as creative people, we can't really, I feel like it's so hard, especially once you get to a certain like space, you can't, it feels like if you let that go, like, you know, other people, they're able to like work from home and, you know, do whatever they need to do that way, virtual. But most artists, unless you're a physical painter who needs like a studio space, aren't necessarily able to do that, especially if your art involves you working with another person, right? And obviously yours does. So speaking about that, what exactly does it mean to be a, you know, wardrobe stylist, image consultant? Like, firstly, what inspired you to become that? And then also, what does it mean to you?
Well, I would say what inspired me. I mean, just to live in New York in general. Like, you know, we're both from Richmond. So, you know, I always knew, and I felt like deep down in my soul that, you know, I was destined to do something to help people. And I had so many jobs to where I was initially helping people, but just not in the way that I was supposed to. As you stated, like when I was a supervisor at a call center, like I was helping people, I was helping a team, I was helping cultivate people and growing, but that wasn't necessarily what I was meant to do. And I think that's the hardest thing for us is finding our path and finding our way. And Elliott known me so many years, like I didn't have a really easy childhood. So most of the things that I've done up until this day have solely been on my own. So just being mentally stable enough and strong enough to know that whatever predicament you are in at that moment, it's not your forever, and continuing to strive and push through that. I've always seen New York City in in like featured films and actresses and actors, so polished and clean, and like the New York City lights. And I always have loved like red carpet events and like Met Gala, for example. And I would sit at home and just watch, you know, as just a viewer, you know, but what would be going through my mind would not be the same thing going through other people's minds. Like I think other people were more focused on like who it was on the carpet, whereas I just see people for people. I respect everyone's artistry and like whatever lane they're in, music, entertainment, actor, actresses. But whereas, you know, Joe or Tom next to me would be like, oh my God, it's Denzel Washington, and oh, it's Angelina Jolie. I'm sitting there like, wow, I wonder what fabric that is.
Okay.
Like, wow, look at his suit, like the double vented suit with the multiple enhanced buttons on the front, and then how the collar is shaped, and how did they get that pant so tapered? Like, how did they, you know, my questions were different. Of course, I respected all the talent on the carpet, but I was more so excited to see the garments in the wardrobe. And I think I've always been passionate about that. And I think when I came to the conclusion that that was my purpose, to help people, because I've always been attracted to colors and different structures and just the atmosphere of like nature, and how you can look at a butterfly and make a skirt. And that skirt will tell that story of how that butterfly flies. I don't know, like, it's just how I think.
No, you think like an artist.
But yeah, I see people at people value. Everyone is equal in my eyes. I don't, from the highest billionaire that I've been able to work with, to just the generalized person who's been saving for 4 years to get a hoodie made. You know, and that just has been my outlook, and I was like, I need to be in New York. I didn't know how it was gonna work out for me, but you don't know unless you try, and I rather try than regret not trying.
Right.
5 years later, we're here.
And let me tell y'all, okay. Now, I too was living in the city when Haven moved, and he did not ask for anything. He didn't ask for anything. He took what he had and made, I feel like, one of the biggest moves a person can make. Go to a city you don't know anything about it really. You may have been there a few times, and he made that move, and he did it really on his own. There were, you know, people there to support him, you know, like us as a friendship and emotionally, but he really, I mean, for lack of a better word, hustled up. He made things happen. What type of things would you tell someone if they are trying to do something similar? Like, were there any like mistakes you learned from, or things that you could, you know, tell other people about that?
Yeah, you know what? And it's crazy, and I'm pretty sure you can relate. As an artist, I believe that everyone's path is different. You know, of course, I can give feedback and I can give, I guess, structural advice. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you can utilize you can utilize my feedback to navigate your purpose and your story. I would just say it just in a generalized overview perspective, to just continue to be consistent, continue to be driven, continue to be inspired. My best knows that, like, I've always loved Mariah Carey, and her music has definitely influenced my life so much, and that's why I'm so protective over her.
Okay, protective.
Because she is an icon, and you can look at those accolades and those awards and those number ones, and darling, we could talk on and on and on. But no, all jokes aside, her music has, I mean, there were times where I've just been in the room by myself, You know, when I moved to New York with $200 in my pocket, I literally remember I was renting a room for like $400 a month. I had like
which wait, before you say that, if you know anything about New York real estate, renting a room for $400 a month, let that sink in. Because that's
so $400. I literally remember, and like every week I would give my landlord come by and I would give her $100. And you know, I had 6 other roommates. It was a rundown house. If anyone has lived in New York and know that you're like just starting out, like the bathroom was disgusting. I had to wear slides like to take a shower. It was just it wasn't kept at all. I mean, in my room, it was like a simple little lock that was like basically holding my door shut. That was my privacy. It was, the walls were like this ugly green color. The floor was coming up. Yeah, it was bad. And you know, I remember times where I literally only had like $3 or $4 in my pocket, you know, and at the end of the day, I knew that was living in New York. That was going to get me 2 slices of pizza, a bag of chips, and a can of soda. And I worried, what happens tomorrow? What happened tomorrow? I can't talk about that now. And you know what? I laid in my bed with that 32-inch TV on that big ass chest. And, you know, I was content because I was doing it by myself. And in the back of my head, I knew that I had a purpose. I knew that I had a goal. And I would also say, set short-term goals for yourself, because accomplishing short-term goals eventually lead to big accomplishments, right? And I always knew that even though I was renting that room for $400 a month, that was not my forever, you know. And every year, things just kept getting better for me. I'm really big in my faith. I'm really big in being goal oriented. You have to want it for yourself, you know. I've met so many amazing people, and I'm also Leo, so I'm very prideful. So I never wanted to ask for help. Like I could be on my last 50 cents and I would be like, well, we got 2 quarters.
Okay, 10 dimes.
And I have friends, like I have supportive friends. I have friends that, you know, if I would have asked, they would have said without a question. But I truly wanted to do it on my own. And, you know, being in New York almost 5 years now, throughout the years, like my living arrangements changed. I began meeting more people. I was able to express my art more. I've just truly been blessed. And I think being persistent, being durable, which is the word for today.
Yes, honey.
And just believing in yourself, because a lot of times we don't believe in ourselves, and you know, we expect other people to fill those voids that we don't have. Like for me personally, I didn't have a really good relationship with my family in the same household coming up. I didn't have that support, that parental support. So friends like Elliott that I've known for 15 years, like his parents were my parents. You know, I was riding to rehearsals with him, and I was like, you know, because I didn't have that, you know. And now that the tables have turned, and you know, I'm in the midst of where you felt counted out, now you're like the most successful person in your family.
Yes.
So durability.
We're breaking generational curses. We're creating generational wealth. Okay. I want to make sure that the viewers know that you can feel free. I know we have people kind of going in and out, but feel free to ask questions, say hello, you know, let us know that you're here. Let us know that you're watching and enjoying. But I want to ask a couple. Well, so if you're familiar with my show, then you'll know that I usually ask the guests to come up with questions that either pertain to their art, to the world, to pretty much anything that they think is interesting. And I loved the questions that Haven came up with. So let's start. I want to go into, since we were just talking about COVID-19 a little bit earlier, let's do this question first. So I'm going to pop the question on the screen. Give me a moment. All right, perfect. So this question is going to pop up. I'm going to get you to ask the question, and then we will discuss le question. All right.
Okay, so we're going. So, do you want me to read the question?
You can read it. I can read it. Whatever you want. What you want? Want me to read it?
Yeah. No. Oh, wait. Hold on. Okay, I'll read it to you.
Okay, perfect.
I think I'll read it to you. Okay. So, best, with COVID-19 being such a world-shattering moment that will forever be a dent in our history, how has COVID-19 changed the industry of music, as it has surely affected the fashion industry?
That question is great. So, in the music industry, there has been a lot of good things, a lot of bad things, and a lot of things kind of sitting in the middle. So within specifically the operatic industry, I can't really talk much about like orchestral or pop or, you know, because honey, the pop girls, the R&B girls, the you know, they're at awards, honey, they're living their best lives. But they have protocols put in place that allow them to be able to do that, right? And with the opera world, every opera company is separate. Every opera company is its own entity, right? So each one can kind of do whatever they want to do unless they're part of our union. Mm-hmm. And so one thing that has been a bit of an issue is that some companies are not following like specific like PPE protocols or things to keep their artists safe. And so right at the beginning of the pandemic, a lot of companies were still trying to hire artists, but they didn't have like plans in place. Now they are getting better, but even still, that kind of forced artists to go digital, right? Like classical singers, specifically opera singers, we are the only singers who still sing live with no amplification, right? We sing no microphones, none of that. We sing in the theater for thousands of people, and you can hear them, well, in the back of the hall, if you're doing it right. And so, and so it's one of those things where it's so hard to take that big of a space, of a range, of a voice, of an instrument, and combine that down into something virtual. You can't really hear all of the nuances and all of the things that make live performance so great. So that's one kind of thing that's been a little shaky, is putting the classical music online. But it's also been super amazing to see how creative people are getting, right? With like new projects, new ways to make music online, new ways to connect with people. And I mean, there are shows that are directed literally over Zoom. It's crazy. And so I think the biggest thing is that it's causing people to become aware of the issues that are within the operatic community. Two, it's causing awareness for our individual rights as singers, right? To like be taken seriously. Oh, thanks, Mama. My mama just put a little comment up there. Thanks, Mama. And to also just help it shows us as artists that we have to have a voice. We have to demand the respect that we should be given, because what we do is hard. It is not something that you would do if you did not love it, because the rejection, the physical elements of it, all of the other things that go into it, the financial burden of being an artist is insane. So, and people are always like, artists don't have money, like yeah, because we're always giving money out to other people, because in order to survive and thrive in our industries, they ask us for so much. So, where I think other industries don't ask you for anything except for to be a good candidate, right? But in artistic spaces, they always are asking us for more. What more can you give me for less? Right? Like I think even you probably have experienced that. Like, well, what else can I do for less?
Free.
Right. Or for free. Okay. Free does not pay my car payment. Free does not pay my bills.
Okay.
Free doesn't do anything for me.
Hey.
And so when it doesn't do anything for me, it also doesn't do anything for you. And so I think that's the biggest thing are those things. But what about in the fashion industry? Because I don't really, I have no clue.
Well, surprisingly, like I said, working in the midst of a pandemic has actually been like one of my most successful years being in New York was 2020, which was crazy.
Right.
I'm not I'm not that tech savvy. So doing things like virtually and like learning how to operate on different platforms and stuff, I'm like, okay, this is too much because I'm more of like a face-to-face interaction type of person. So it was 2020 definitely showed me, or definitely allowed me to sharpen and cultivate skills that I really didn't necessarily use. But I would say for the fashion industry in general, I mean, I think as any other industry throughout art, it was affected for sure. When you have like fashion capitals of the world that have shut down, no more production, no more events, no more shows. Right. So you had to get to you have creative directors and their teams in different houses that are going back to the drawing board, trying to figure out how the hell do we continue to push fashion and representation of our house and still keep people involved, keep people wanting more, keep people feeling great in the midst of what's going on in the world, and some have been a try or a reach, but to like do shows like fashion shows like virtually and stuff, as you stated, it's not the same as you would experience like live. Like it's different when you sit front row at a show and you get to watch models come down and in certain pieces that you are able to think about who that might fit or who might like that or who might, it takes away from the entire experience, but like I said, on the flip side, and being able to cultivate made to order one of a kind Gucci garments through DAP, I think that still being able to host appointments from general clientele to celebrities that may have like magazine shoots or music videos or the list just goes on and on and on. I'm honestly thinking like, where are these people going? Everything is shut down.
Right.
Where are these, so it's truly a blessing to see people that spend $8,000-9,000 for a tracksuit to sit in the house, because at the end of the day, when it comes to fashion and it comes to luxury, yes, it's more so for the generalized feeling of how it makes people feel, because luxury goods are not a necessity, so it's based off of how it makes people feel, and everyone has their generalized reasons. Some people like cars, people like motorcycles, people like tattoos, people like clothing, and to be able to experience something that has a story to it, and also being able to personalize it yourself with like exclusive, authentic Italian fabrics. I think people really wanted to take advantage of that, and also in the midst of it being such a hard year. What makes it more special than personalizing something for yourself, that nobody else in the world will have? And I think it's really affected. It surely has affected the industry, but still a good year, surprisingly.
Yeah, I have had that similar thing. Like there's been really major things that have happened in my life, like really good things that have happened in 2020, even though it was just like literally a dumpster fire of a year. thankfully, I was standing next to the dumpster getting some of the heat, but I was not on fire. So, you know, I'm very thankful and very blessed to have that. And you know, let's chat about this. So you were mentioning Dapper Dan.
Yeah.
A legend. Can you tell us a little bit about how you like what you're doing with Dapper Dan and well, for the people who may not know who that is. I mean,
Oh, wow.
I know who it is, but you know, some of the people really don't know. They're not into they're not the fashion girls.
So I've been in luxury. I've been in fashion for a while now, and I have been with Gucci. I have been with Fendi. I have been with Armani. So different aspects, different houses throughout the fashion industry. For those who do not know who Dapper Dan is, use Google. But I'll give you a brief synopsis, a brief overview. So Dapper Dan is one pivotal icon in the fashion industry, African American icon. He is known for his textile wardrobing and creating custom garments for the urbanized culture. Throughout the 80s, LL Cool J, Salt and Pepper, the list just goes on and
All
on.
the girls.
The list just goes on and on and on. Basically, in the 80s, if you were not wearing custom Dapper Dan, you just weren't popping. And for those of you who do not know who Dapper Dan is, you can get on YouTube and you can search Dapper Dan Vogue, and he actually has a brief 5-minute overview. That's actually really good. Love Dap, but Dap can talk to you all day. So I know they have a lot of editing to do to get his story down to 5 minutes. But no, definitely pivotal icon. I truly appreciate his mentorship and just that he has stories on stories on stories. He reads so much and he truly has a lot to share. Dap was doing things in the 80s that most of these luxury houses weren't even doing back then.
I mean, they had no clue. They couldn't. They had no.
If you were seeing a woman walking down the street in a Vuitton trench coat, double-breasted trench coat made out of leather with the belt buttons and all the bells and whistles, it didn't come from Vuitton, you know. And it's like, where did she get that coat, you know? So you fast forward to now, and Dap being able to express his custom aspects in luxury and having a partnership with Gucci. You have seen multiple artists, entertainers, actors, actresses. Last year was a really big year for Dap at the Met Gala. Ashley Graham, so many different influencers and celebrities that looked amazing. And being able to put a spotlight on, you know, what Dap has done for the culture, bringing in that streetwear urbanized aesthetic that a lot of luxury houses take from and don't give the credit to.
Right.
And being able to do that custom with exclusive Italian Gucci fabrics with Dap's name, I think has truly been a moment in history for him. And he has a lot more things coming down the pipeline. So
excited.
Yeah, be ready for that. Okay.
And so you as a stylist in yourself, so what inspires you when you're styling an outfit? Like, do you take it from the person? So if someone, okay, for instance, how does that work? Do I like send you an email and say like, hey, I'm going to an event, can you help me? Like,
that's it. Hey,
how are ya?
I'm trying to be formal, but this is very informal. So basically, are you talking about like with Dap or for me?
No, your individual styling and consulting.
Well, it kind of goes hand in hand, you know, being his lead wardrobe consultant and hosting all of his appointments. Video just dropped with Saweetie and Doja Cat.
Yes, honey, best friends.
Yeah, so good. So just being able to be able to partner with different talents and other stylists and really create these moments, I think is what makes it truly special. When it comes to styling someone, like you either have it or you don't. And I have so many friends who are stylists, around the country. Brian's truly a sweetheart. He's Saweetie's main stylist. So it was a pleasure, like being able to partner and work with him. KJ Moody, amazing guy, super funny. He styles Beyonce, Kelly Rowland. So and it's truly a small world, when you think about it. And your reputation literally is in the balance, because so many people talk throughout this industry. You know what I'm saying? And I think when it comes to styling people, you either have it or you don't. With me, a tactic that I always use is the wardrobe will come, the styling will come. I like to get to know the individual first.
Right.
Because getting to know that person is truly going to tell me what direction I need to go.
Right.
Because I'm big on pushing the envelope too. So if you're really conservative, I'm gonna push you out of that just a little bit.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Do you feel like your style okay, so when we're talking about style, like a lot of people think about style as being like, what I've seen from your styling is that you take from a lot of different influences, right? Like you create in your mind a story, right? And then from that story, you create a moment on a person. And so do you feel I've seen where you've done like a couple of like having to get things like custom, and even for yourself when you're styling yourself. For anyone out there who wants to get into styling or image consulting, what would be a good first step? I mean, I would think one of them would be to actually do like some research on fashion, right? To like have a base knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, that's truly important. Like, I would say educating yourself first, because that would go back to like what I was truly inspired by, watching like red carpets, everyone excited about the celebrities. And I want to know like what fabrics people are wearing, or like, truly being able to speak to different aspects of, fabrication, structure, silhouette, how things move, how things stretch, how to wear things, how to pair things, what textiles go with what, all those are all important entities in basically making a moment for that person. And is it just a moment for an event or for like a one-time appearance, or are you actually cultivating this person's wardrobe? Does this person have like a business lifestyle? Do they have a more casual lifestyle? Is it a blend? I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I would just say it starts with educating yourself, because the more you know about silhouettes, how things fit, fabrication, the better you are at picking apart the very important details that will lead to that really positive end result of having the moment for that client.
I love that. And that kind of leads us into the next question that you sent over to me. So I'm going to pop that on the screen.
Okay.
So when you go ahead and read it. So it's coming out of the mouth of babes.
Okay. So fashion always tells a story, evoking emotion. Working with clients, I myself have found that wardrobing sessions sometimes are therapeutic for the talent or client. How is this, or would this translate to me?
Yeah. It is so funny because we've been talking about story a lot, right? Like that's a part of I feel like the artist's way, the artist's life is telling a story. That's like the basis of where we begin for most artists. And music is just the same. Like opera is storytelling through the classically trained voice. And for us, I think that it can be therapeutic for us as the artist and also as the person who's viewing it, right? Like the fact that because this singer can sing from a loud forte to the softest piano, it does something, especially when it's live. It does something to your brain that triggers. I'm even getting chill bumps just thinking about it.
Me too.
It does something to your brain that triggers this sense of excitement that doesn't feel the same necessarily as like riding a roller coaster or
abrupt all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's like a emotional warmth. Right? That's the closest thing I can describe it to. It makes you feel in your just electricity flowing through your brain. And I think that for me, because I wouldn't consider myself, you know, a fashion girl. However, I do enjoy watching runway shows and I enjoy the art of making clothing and making fashionable items and luxury and
the story that it tells.
The story that it tells and the work that goes behind it. I love it.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting too because I feel like music and fashion so much go hand in hand, right? Like you can enhance the story by costuming and by wardrobe.
Yeah.
So when you see like, you know, it would be very interesting to see opera singers dress like how, like for instance, you're styling Saweetie and the new video that came out. Like I would love to see an opera singer dressed in like a streetwear style singing an aria on stage in an opera. We don't see that because people don't think that they go hand in hand, but they really do.
Yeah, they do.
They really do. And that could enhance a story and bring in an audience that you would not normally have see an opera, right? And then also opera and classical music also really has a hand in wardrobe. Like if you think about when opera was created, and you know, you have things 1600s, 1700s, 1800s till now. It's the oldest, one of the oldest singing art forms. Those period pieces that you see in operas were the styles, right? Those styles influenced the way that we walked, the way that we sang, the way that we emoted on stage. And you can find influence in fashion now. I mean, look at some latest trends like bustiers with t-shirts or like corsets with t-shirts, right? Like that is an 18th century concept brought into the modern world. Or even like painting your face, beating your mug. That is an 18th century, you know, they used to wear powder makeup back in the day. Even like if we think about, you know, there's this like dichotomy. This is like not necessarily styling per se, but when we're talking about hairstyles, right? Like think of hairstyles from like the 90s and the early 2000s where it's like all these
hair,
right? Molded hairstyles. But when it was back in the day and it was a certain class of people doing it, it was the thing to do. And yet when another set of people do the same thing, right, and create even more intense and detailed things, then it becomes a less than until it comes back up again years later. Because, you know, they say fashion repeats itself, what, every 20 years or something like that. So it comes back up again. And then there's another group of people who did not originate the style trying to rock that style. And I see that a lot in fashion. How do you combat that while also making people feel comfortable?
Well, I would say in evoking emotion, how it translates to music, because music is also art.
Right.
The opera is also truly, I think, one of the best art forms in music, because it completely tells a different story. To sing with no microphone or no, no additional. It's literally just you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I put that same retrospect and perspective on, you know, styling. With evoking emotion, I can tell you honestly, there's no better feeling in the world, no amount of money that someone could pay me or anything like that, to see a woman or a man that literally had no self-awareness as to like what their individuality or what their perspective on like who they are and what they emote through their clothing is, you know, walking out of like a fitting room and like, you know, and just fit like, I don't know. It's like the most gratifying thing in the world, and just being excited about like, you know, you having clients that are super conservative, that only wear like blacks, navies, and you know, basically I call it hiding from the world, right? And you know, you put her in a long floral skirt with like a beautiful sequins blouse with maybe like some, you know, some type of scarf, and you know, different entities to add to that outfit that just make it pop. And she's like a burst of color. She's a completely different person.
Right.
And I actually have a client like that I started out with maybe 4 years ago. And I don't even know who she is anymore.
And she switched up on them.
You know, I see her now and I'm like, oh, okay. Look, hey, go for it, you know. And I think I think that's the most beautiful thing in the world to me, because I believe that I was durable enough to go for what I'm passionate about and finding my own individuality, my own wardrobe. But you know, my wardrobe's all over the place. I mean, I play in women's wear, men's wear.
Yeah, giving looks on looks
and
on looks.
It will happen again and again and again. And I think, you know, when people actually watch that, so, you know, I don't want you to look like me, but let's find like your style. And you know, I think since she has found her style, yeah, I don't know who she is anymore. I'm like on her page, like, you look amazing. You look so good, you know? And it's truly, truly a beautiful thing. And I think that that's what connects fashion and music. You know what I'm saying? But that's a trend. Like, that is a trend, like with Dap and him making like urbanized streetwear and things like that, that luxury brands were not doing, but they will take from that and then want to sell it to the masses and not give credit where it is due.
Exactly.
Coincides with, you know, music and the opera and hairstyles and things like that. But yeah, I think I definitely think that they have a mutual parallel perspective.
And especially from the therapeutic space too, like to help someone find their confidence, especially because clothes originally, I mean, if we're talking about like maybe like the 1800s, something like that, clothes were obviously designed for each individual person, right? And then we got into like mainstream clothing that was easily mass produced. That's in like the 1900s, right? So before that, everything was made to order and custom to you, right? It was not like you could just like go in a store and be like, oh, there's like 50 of the same t-shirts and pick one. You couldn't do that. So a lot of times I think people don't realize that like clothing can be so individualized and so tailored to one's personality, right? Like it doesn't have to just be the cookie cutter of whatever somebody else made. Like maybe you add a little bit of here, add a little bit of something there, take away something there. And that's how you create your own identity and your own space of creativity that can be so therapeutic for people.
And even just being therapeutic, I would say from my own perspective, one of my favorite things to do is challenging myself to style and what I can cultivate on my end. I can go out with a friend, right? And like say I can go out with Elliott guys, and we both like this same jacket, right? I'm like, oh my God, this jacket is so sick. And he's like, that's right, this jacket is sick. It's so cool. You know, he's gonna wear it his way, but I guarantee you when I get home, I'm gonna probably come up with 4 or 5 different looks with that same jacket. And compared to when we both wear it, it will not be the same.
Right.
And that's where when you speak of like styling and individuality, just because we have the same pieces don't mean that we will look alike.
Exactly.
Because we won't.
We won't. And that I think is what's so beautiful about it. Like you can take one simple thing and create so many different spaces around that one thing, and that's what makes it so creative, and that's what makes it so therapeutic and exciting.
And people tell you, I mean, I can't speak for like the music world, but I think when it comes to styling in general and it being therapeutic, child, y'all don't know the stories that I believe I know more personal information than I know about myself and other people. Like, I mean, we talking about marriages, we talking about kids, we talking about it. It literally is therapy for these individuals, you know. Right. And once you see that, the styling will come, all that stuff will come down the line. But when you genuinely get to know that person, then you know exactly what direction you need to go in, and they will appreciate that for sure.
Exactly. I am so here for that. So we are going to start wrapping up because listen, Haven is a busy person. Okay. He has other meetings and things he must go to. So we're going to start wrapping up, but I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time and investing that time into me as an artist. And I hope that this is an investment to you as an artist. And you know, it's so funny how after years, the space that we've both grown into and the men that we've become, and looking back on it, I was talking you, but there's a backstage to the studio, and my mom popped in for a moment, and we were like, yeah, we've been friends for 15 years, and she was just like basically gagged because she was like, wow, it's been that long, and we really grew up, you know, into men together,
following our dreams and being
following our dreams. You
know, and I can honestly say, Bess, that you guys, Elliott was, I mean, not only is a brother and a best friend, but he has been probably one of my biggest inspirations too. You know, because when I was trying to find myself and trying to figure out what it is that I wanted to do, I mean, he was at JMU singing and this and third, and I've never really been into school. So to do 4 years at like a prestige college, to leave to go to another prestige college for another 4 years, I was like, look, more power to you. You know, I was like, I don't know how the hell he did that, but I don't know. I looked at different aspects in my friends' lives that I kind of took from to motivate me and push me, and I think that was one of my biggest motivations from you.
Well, you motivate me every single day. So thank you for being you and for shining your light with love and happiness and joy and positivity. Because there are many people in this world that do not shine that light that way. So
nope.
it is appreciated, and we appreciate you for being here. And as we wrap up, I'm going to go ahead and let Haven go backstage. I'm gonna pop you to the back, and I'm just gonna give a little outro. So hang out there for me for when we finish.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Oh, did you want to say? Let's see. What are some closing remarks? Give the girls a little closing number.
The closing number. Oh. So if you guys do not follow me on Instagram already, please do at @ThyHaven, which is right here. My handle's right here. You can keep up with me and my work and projects and all that good jazz. And all I would just say is, like, it's a new year, a new you. Strive for those goals. Be diligent. Be durable. Know that you can make it happen. Know that anything is accomplishable, truly. As cliche as it sounds, you can have the world if you want it. And you just have to want it for yourself. So yes. It was a pleasure.
Amen. Okay, I will see you shortly. Thank you so much for being on today. We really appreciate you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. All right, so thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. I definitely saw some people kind of pop in and pop out. So be sure to join us again 2 Sundays from now. We are here every other Sunday giving you that hot brew tea, honey. And this season, we're expanding. We're trying to bring in artists that are not just musically based, right? We want artists from all over. So if you have a suggestion for an artist that you'd like to see on What's the Tea with ACP, please let us know. Write to us as a DM in our Compass Projects. And if you're interested in being on the show, let us know if you're an artist. Again, we want to thank you for being here. Don't forget to check out Haven Christopher at Thy Haven on Instagram. Also check out his YouTube. It is amazing. It is so fierce, so fabulous. So again, we want to thank you, and that's it for What's the Tea. Ooh, boo, boo, boo. I'll see y'all 2 Sundays from now.